President's pardons. Overnight, former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich freed from prison. The one-time apprentice contestant now home, hours after President Trump commutes his corruption sentence.
I'm actually, I guess, the chief law enforcement officer of the country.
This as Attorney General Barr sends out the message that he may resign if President Trump keeps tweeting about Justice Department cases.
Center stage showdown. As our new poll just out shows, Michael Bloomberg surging. He's taking the debate stage for the first time. How his Democratic rivals are planning to take him on tonight.
Cruise ship chaos. Dozens of new cases of coronavirus confirmed on the Diamond Princess. Just as passengers are finally released. And now another American who was evacuated from that boat testing positive for the virus back here in the U.S. as the death toll from the outbreak tops 2,000.
Breaking overnight, a major update after this horrifying Daytona 500 crash, where we're now learning about driver Ryan Newman's condition.
Royal rejection? The Queen on the verge of a major decision that could cost Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan their royal brand and possibly millions.
I feel alive. And Extraordinary Earth. This morning, the launch of our new series. Come with us as we explore 20 incredible places in 2020 that will change the way you think about our planet. Ginger is right there, getting ready to take us into one of the world's most beautiful natural wonders.
Wow, that is impressive.
And reveal an important message coming from halfway around the world. GMA is live from Africa's Victoria Falls.
Live in Times Square, this is Good Morning America.
Good morning, America. It's great to have you with us on this Wednesday morning as we kick off our new series, Extraordinary Earth, counting down to the 50th anniversary of Earth Day.
And we begin with an extraordinary sight. Live in Zimbabwe at Victoria Falls, one of the 7 wonders of the world. You see it right there, so magnificent. And there's Ginger. She's standing by there because these images caught our eye. I want you to take a look at this right here. This was Victoria Falls a few months ago.
Beautiful.
Oh, I remember people
completely dried up right there, but now it is back to its full power. But that photo right there helps explain why so many experts are saying we need to pay attention to what's happening there. Ginger's going to explain it all.
She will this morning. But we're going to begin with President Trump's pardons. The former Illinois governor released from prison back home this morning, one of 11 people who were either pardoned or had their sentence commuted by President Trump. Most are white-collar criminals with personal or financial ties to the president. Cecilia Vega starts us off. She's there at the White House for us. Good morning, Cecilia.
Robin, good morning to you. President Trump is hardly the first to make a controversial pardon, but the number of high-profile names who have ties to the president's inner circle and who have made some very big donations to his campaign is raising eyebrows this morning. Among them, you said it, Rod Blagojevich, who is now out of prison years ahead of schedule and is expected to hold a homecoming press conference later this morning. Overnight, disgraced former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich released from federal prison in Colorado.
Hello, nice seeing you guys.
Cameras catching up to him before he boarded a flight back home.
You had no inkling at all that this was about to happen?
Not today, no, I did not. I did not.
You had no warning?
No warning, no.
Part of President Trump's pardon spree that granted clemency to a who's who of big-name white-collar criminals.
I'll do anything, right? Legal and ethical and honest.
Of course.
The one-time apprentice contestant served 8 of his 14-year sentence for attempting to sell Barack Obama's former Senate seat. The crime caught on tape.
I mean, I've got this thing, and it's golden. And I'm just not giving it up. Nothing.
Blagojevich overnight defiant.
But I didn't break any laws. I crossed no lines. And this was routine politics, and the people that did it are the ones who broke the laws and the ones who, frankly, should meet and face some accountability.
His wife, Patty, appealing directly to the president on Fox News.
The president's about justice and fairness, and, we hope that he looks at Rod.
And President Trump took notice.
I watched his wife on television. I don't know him very well. I've met him a couple of times.
President Trump bypassing traditional Justice Department pardon procedures, saying he relied on recommendations from friends and associates like personal attorney Rudy Giuliani, whose former New York City Police Commissioner Bernie Kerik, convicted of tax fraud, received a pardon. Same for former San Francisco 49ers owner Eddie DeBartolo Jr., who pleaded guilty to concealing an alleged extortion plot. He co-hosted a pre-inauguration party before President Trump took office. Also pardoned a construction magnate who pleaded guilty to underpaying taxes. He and his family donating more than $200,000 to Republicans and the president's re-election campaign. This as President Trump faces fresh scrutiny for tweeting about ongoing criminal cases, even after his attorney general said the president's tweets make his job, quote, impossible. Now, President Trump insisting he has the right to intervene if he wants to.
I'm allowed to be totally involved. I'm actually, I guess, the chief law enforcement officer of the country.
So President Trump was also asked if he plans to pardon his longtime friend and confidant Roger Stone. He says he hasn't given it any thought, but that he, quote, also said that Stone has been treated unfairly. Stone, George, is set to be sentenced tomorrow. Yeah, that is coming up tomorrow. Okay, Cecilia, thanks very much. The president's determination to intervene and tweet about Justice Department cases is causing new tension with Attorney General William Barr, who's telling people close to the president that he's considering quitting if the president doesn't back off. Our chief justice correspondent Pierre Thomas is tracking the latest. Good morning, Pierre.
George, good morning. Barr's relationship with the president is facing stress, perhaps its first real test. Overnight sources confirming to ABC News that Barr has told associates of President Trump he's considering resigning if the president does not stop tweeting about Justice Department criminal cases. DOJ has put out a statement saying, quote, addressing Beltway rumors, the Attorney General has no plans to resign. But all this comes after Barr told ABC News last week that Trump's tweets about the case of his close ally Roger Stone and other prosecutions are making it impossible for him to do his job. But there was the president yesterday tweeting about the Stone case, including commentary of an analyst raising questions about a juror and a judge in that case. Judge Trump weighing in, as Cecilia said, as Stone is about to be sentenced tomorrow. And while the president praised Barr yesterday, he also made it clear that those tweets are not likely to stop and that he, not Barr, is the nation's chief law enforcement officer. George, this is a fluid situation and bears very close watching.
It sure does. Okay, Pierre, thanks very much. Let's bring in our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams. So last week, Barr tells Pierre the tweets make his job impossible. The tweets continue yesterday. Barr's still in the job. So it raises the whole question, how much of this is real and how much is posturing?
I think this is real posturing. I mean, I think that he means it, but I think he's trying to make a point. Look, this is personal now to Barr. This is embarrassing for Barr. He's the one who has to report back to everyone who works at the Department of Justice. And I think that for him, as a result, this isn't some broad matter of right and wrong and the rule of law. This is about the fact that, in effect, you are disrespecting me. But remember, if Barr is to resign, then what happens? Then what you probably see is an acting attorney general. Someone not confirmed.
No one can get confirmed this year.
Correct. An acting attorney general not confirmed by the Senate who is willing to play ball to some degree with the president. And so you may see someone who is even more politicized than what we've seen from Bill Barr. And, you know, when people are calling for Bill Barr to resign, that's something to think about.
And in the meantime, it's coming as we saw the president come out with this spree of pardons yesterday. Highly, highly unusual process.
Well, and the process is what's unusual, right? I mean, there's a whole office within the Department of Justice that deals with pardons. They're the ones who sit there and they evaluate based on all these factors whether a pardon makes sense or doesn't make sense, et cetera. And then they provide recommendations to the president, and the president then has to make a decision. It seems none of that happened here, and the president's just kind of winging it.
Okay, Dan Abrams, thanks very much. Michael?
All right, thank you so much, George. We're going to turn now to the race for the White House as the Democratic candidates prepare to face off on the debate stage tonight. Our new ABC News Washington Post poll shows Bernie Sanders on the rise, solidly in first place. Joe Biden still in second, but dropping, and Mike Bloomberg surging into third as he gets ready for his first debate tonight. Eva Pilgrim is there in Las Vegas tracking it all this morning. Good morning, Eva.
Good morning, Michael. No question, all eyes will be watching to see how Michael Bloomberg performs tonight. We know he's been prepping for several days, his campaign staff playing the roles of his fellow candidates. Tonight, he faces off for the first time face-to-face against his rivals.
The gloves are off. Just hours to go until Michael Bloomberg makes his first debate appearance. The other Democrats are ready to rumble.
To all of those billionaires who think they can buy elections, we are a democracy, not an oligarchy. You're not going to buy this election.
The former New York City mayor has not been on a debate stage in more than a decade, and he's never been on one this crowded. His rivals have been debating for months now.
Do you think he's buying the race, or do you think he's just trying to beat Donald Trump?
No, he's definitely trying to buy the race, but here's the thing, it's not that simple. You have to actually be willing to look voters in the eye, to take questions. At some point, you've got to be ready to be challenged.
Bloomberg's rivals making it clear that tonight they are coming for him. Elizabeth Warren tweeting, at least now primary voters curious about how each candidate will take on Donald Trump can get a live demonstration of how we each take on an egomaniac billionaire. Bloomberg not the only candidate who will be feeling the pressure on the debate stage. Several others needing strong performances in Nevada. Pete Buttigieg, who came out of Iowa and New Hampshire riding high, now facing his first test with minority voters. This, as ABC News has now learned, in several instances we have reviewed, the Buttigieg campaign overstated its minority support. People identified as supporters later saying their interactions had either been misunderstood or misconstrued.
And as for Bloomberg, he knows his money is going to be an issue on that debate stage tonight. His campaign trying to get ahead of that, announcing that if he is elected president, he will immediately put his company into a blind trust and sell it. Robin.
All right, Eva, thank you. We have now more on those issues that are hitting the South hard. The storm sweeping across the country, bringing even more rain and flooding, with the deep freeze is headed to the Midwest and Northeast. Rob Marciano is in for Ginger, has the latest for us. Good morning, Rob.
Hey, good morning, Robin. That system stretched out and turned into snow across parts of the Northeast, including Rochester, New York, about 3.5 inches of snow plus freezing rain yesterday. Traffic issues there on I-395, and that moved over to Maine. I-95 in Maine, difficult commute there. When I-95 freezes over like that, you know it's a bad situation. Of course, the flooding continues in the south. We saw Jackson, Mississippi. This is Hardin County in Tennessee, where roads are collapsing. They have seen so much rain there, most spots at least twice the normal amount since the beginning of the year. And here comes another batch. We get a little wave developing along the stationary front. And unfortunately, Jackson, you're going to see more in the way of rain. The river is starting to slowly recede, but obviously all these rivers are swollen, can't take any more. Look at that, a little bit of snow potentially during the day tomorrow in Charlotte and Raleigh. We'll update that for you a little bit later. George, over.
Okay, Rob, thanks. We're getting at the latest now on the coronavirus emergency. Overnight, passengers on the quarantine cruise ship in Japan were finally allowed off, but the Americans on board are not free to return to the U.S. yet, and we're learning of a new case involving one of the Americans who already evacuated. Clayton Sandell is tracking it all from Omaha. Good morning, Clayton.
Hey, good morning, George. That new patient was evacuated from Japan and arrived in California on Monday. This person had been on that cruise ship during quarantine, but still got sick.
This morning, another American from the Diamond Princess cruise ship has developed coronavirus, at least the 15th case so far. He's now being treated at a hospital near Travis Air Force Base in California.
Seems to be a pretty steady flow of passengers now.
In Japan overnight, passengers went from boat to bus, finally released from the ship after 2 weeks of a mandatory quarantine that failed to stop the coronavirus from spreading to at least 621 passengers.
Wishing them support from our balcony, waving goodbye, good luck.
A Japanese doctor who was on board for 1 day says the ship's infection control was woefully inadequate.
There was no distinction between the green zone, which is free of infection, and the red zone, which is potentially contaminated by virus.
And now the CDC is announcing a new travel restriction, barring anyone who was on board the ship or in a hospital from entering the U.S. until they are symptom-free for 14 days. The number of new infections in China has slowed for the last 2 days, but overnight the death toll there topped 2,000, including the 51-year-old head doctor treating coronavirus patients at a hospital near the outbreak's epicenter. In Cambodia, another cruise ship called the Westerdam is allowing passengers to leave after all 781 tested negative.
As a physician, it is best for all the passengers to do a self-quarantine when they get home, to prevent any further spread.
Frank King was a performer on that ship. He says he broke quarantine and left his hotel, flying back to Seattle before getting his test results.
How long is it going to take to get those results back? Because nobody's moving until those results come back. And I got an engagement on the 20th of February.
In California, Ken Burnett was reunited with his family, his wife and kids finally out of a 2-week quarantine.
Now here in Omaha, those evacuees are just starting their quarantine. They'll be here for at least 2 weeks, but if any of them start to show symptoms, They could be here much longer. Michael?
All right, thank you so much, Clayton. And now the latest on the Harvey Weinstein trial. Jurors are back in court this morning for a second day of deliberations after adjourning Tuesday without a verdict, but asking several questions. Stephanie Ramos is at the courthouse here in Manhattan with more. Good morning, Stephanie.
Michael, good morning. Some 90 women have accused Harvey Weinstein of sexual assault or harassment here in New York. Weinstein is charged with rape, predatory, and criminal sexual assault. If convicted by that jury here, he could spend life in prison. This morning, Harvey Weinstein's fate is in the hands of the jury. During the trial, his defense team pointed to the fact his accusers continued to maintain contact with him after the alleged assault.
Do you think that hurts their case?
No,
women?
It shouldn't. Because somebody gets tickets to a screening long after a sexual assault doesn't mean they weren't sexually assaulted.
Just hours into deliberation Tuesday, the jury sending two notes. First, asking the judge for a legal definition of the charges and for clarification on how to navigate complicated charging instructions. And later, requesting a blueprint of the movie producer's Soho apartment, the location of one of his alleged assaults back in 2006. But the courtroom, not without drama on its first day of deliberation. The judge excoriating one of Weinstein's attorneys, Donna Rotuno, after prosecutors claimed an op-ed penned by her was a bid to sway the jury. In the Newsweek op-ed, Rotuno imploring the jurors to, quote, look past the headlines and to base their verdict solely on the facts, testimony, and evidence presented to them in the courtroom. The judge telling Weinstein, I would caution you about the tentacles of your public relations juggernaut. Rotuno has been a controversial figure at times during the trial, not shying away from the media spotlight.
You have to know that when you make certain choices, there's a risk when you make those choices.
A lot of people would say what you just said is victim blaming.
And that's absolutely not true. If you don't want to be a victim, don't go to the hotel room.
Rotuno has been criticized for those comments. Now, Weinstein has pleaded not guilty to all of the charges. This entire case hinges on the accounts of the two main accusers. If jurors don't believe them, Weinstein could be acquitted of all charges. Guys?
We'll see what happens. All right, Stephanie, thank you. And this morning we have an update, a good update on that NASCAR driver injured at the Daytona 500. Ryan Newman's team says he is now awake and speaking to his family and doctors. This after his car, as you saw, flipped in the final lap of the race and was hit by two other vehicles on the track. We are so glad to hear that Ryan is recovering.
Oh,
Great
yeah,
news.
we sure are. That is good news. We're following a lot of other stories this morning, including a behind-the-scenes battle over the royal brand. Will the Queen ban Harry and Meghan from using it?
And we're launching our new series, Extraordinary Earth. Ginger, live at the magnificent Victoria Falls in Africa. Why experts say we need to pay close attention to what's happening there. But first, let's go back to Rob.
Well, that is spectacular. A little warmer there and wet this morning, but here comes the cold. A bit of a repeat of last week. Similar numbers to what we saw last Thursday and Friday. Tomorrow morning in Chicago, it'll feel like 24 below in Minneapolis. And the core of the cold gets into the Northeast on Friday, so -3 the wind chill in Boston. Keep the heavy coat handy here. 7 in New York City. Syracuse, Utica, winter storm watch out now for potentially lake effect snow, up heavy at times into the weekend. Time now for your Sunny Cities, brought to you by Safe Flight Auto Glass.
What's my Safe Flight story? I spend a lot of time in my truck. It's my livelihood. So I'm not taking any chances when something happens to it. So when my windshield cracked, my friend recommended Safe Flight Auto Glass.
Hi, I'm Adrian.
Thanks for coming.
No problem. Check it out.
Yeah. It came right to me with expert service where I needed it. That's service I can trust, no matter what I'm hauling. Right, girl?
Safe Flight Repair, Safe Flight Replace.
A breezy to windy Wednesday coming our way, but temperatures not bad at all. Starting out in the low to mid 40s, your high temperature about 3-4 o'clock at 50 degrees with more of that sunshine. Then tomorrow we're much cooler, clouds, chance of a few flurries down around the northern neck in southern Maryland. We'll watch that system closely. Coldest air moves in behind this latest weather maker on Friday, the high 39, but another surge of warmth for the weekend. The high on Saturday 52, Sunday 56.
Can't wait to see Ginger Victoria Falls on this. What day is this, Michael?
Hump Day.
There you go.
We are